Hello everyone, welcome to a new short market update. Let's start with BTC. I recently posted, in fact it's been this morning, that not only BTC has held the 106k level, which is the candle level we have been talking about, it has also bounced perfectly from the Fibonacci extension, right? This is the Fibonacci projection that I've been using since the cycle bottom, measured to the previous top here 74, right, earlier this cycle. So far so good. Perfectly holding, no weakness inside. Sorry. Even we can argue that, as I posted, there's a small daily divergence that might be playing out, very oversold levels. Again, for a real push and perhaps breaking the all-time high again, we need the RSI MA cross. Until then, it's just chop. But this is a great acceptance above the all-time high since it broke back in the 8 days ago. All good. If we take a quick look at the weekly, some people might get a little bit worried about this and a potential pullback. Again, to see a pullback on the weekly, I first want to spot some weakness on the daily. That's what I expect. And remember that we can enter this overheating area while it's still pushing, right? Doesn't mean an instant correction. We can see we enter here in November when everything is spiked, even open interest, and we stay here for a month. So all good. This you can see the weekly candle is it really looks really good. But there might be some hesitation, as always, when breaking all-time high. We saw that in previous cycles. Like in 2017 here, we had this like 2-3 candles with some weeks and hesitation, right? But once it really broke, we enter in full price discovery. If we take a quick look at the monthly, everything looks good. Very oversold levels, bullish crush. Look at the monthly candle. It looks wonderful for now. Okay, if we move to Ethereum BTC, this is a chart that I will keep updating because it has some relevance for the altcoin market. And we can see that this support area still holding, even above. Stock RSI getting a little bit extended here. Let's see how far. RSI still has plenty of room, but we saw in the past, in the only data point we have for this bottom area, that even though after reversing it could chop, it could take just quite some time before really pushing. It doesn't mean it has to happen again, but this might be a hint that the cycle is not really entering the final 2-3 months, in my opinion. I think there's still room for altcoins to run and for Ethereum to have at least some performance, right? If we take a look at the Ethereum BTC from the moving averages perspective, this is the 200-day. As I said many times, bull runs have been always above, no matter the asset, right? This is 2017. It recaptured it violently, and we had this whole insane year. In 2020, slowly recapturing and always above before the real big move. Ethereum BTC is still far from it. It has to recapture it. It could be rejected, so down it goes. I would be irresponsible if I told you that this is it. It looks like a bottom for the first time. I hope I already said that. Also because of the high time frame support area, but wouldn't be responsible to say we are back. In fact, if we take a look at the weekly, when I apply the same logic as the same perspective as BTC, the 50 weekly EMA should be support for the bull run, right? We saw it in 2017. We saw the reclaim here with several retests in 2020. So far, as I posted some time ago, it's been a complete rejection this whole cycle after losing it in 2022. So we can see if this is a must, if we consider it is necessary, we are still very far from it. which again reinforces the idea that perhaps the next push for the altcoins is just another weekly cycle, not the full alt season. This is just my interpretation of this data, which is supported by how USDT and BTC dominance are reacting so far. So showing way more strength than they should if we were to enter in a full alt season now. We don't know. This is just all I'm seeing right now. My interpretation doesn't mean I'm right. Total 3. These are the Fibonacci levels. We can see again that perfect retest here in April of the golden ratio. Fibonacci, one of the most important levels. And so far, so good. This is the daily. We are getting close to the 950 resistance that I mentioned some time ago. The daily is getting ready. The bottom area, this formation, this base, is getting bigger and bigger. Very oversold. This is just a matter of days, in my opinion. From the 200 perspective, no changes. It's not a coincidence that all these wicks end up closing above the 200. This is just waiting for the signal. For others, the situation is similar, building a base, the EMA coming to the RSI, curling up already in the stock RSI, and even though this is the main range, right, with the all-time high here, it is interesting that others has reclaimed this intermediate level that was lost here in February, became resistance. It was support here after this initial chop in November, after being resistance here in summer 24, when it was support before, right? So I think this intermediate level, again, is very, very important to hold as a launchpad to attack the potentially all-time high, which is also reflected by the lower bound here in the 200-day moving averages. Again, so this is the kind of algorithm wicks, right? Following BTC, following this is just noise, in my opinion. Everything looks good as long as we hold these levels. If we take a look at BTC dominance, this is the daily chart. And we can see that we had this potential double top RSI and the relief bounce from oversold levels, and the rollover has happened quickly. And again, for now, hopefully it will keep acting as resistance, this Fibonacci level. Perfect scenario as we want it to happen. But now I want to see a lower low. So we are not out of the woods yet. We need to close below to say that perhaps, yes, this is the time for real push from altcoins. From the 200, I said that this 4-hour could be a fake out, and so far it seems that it was. Perhaps it now tries to retest the lower band and hopefully confirm that this is a reversal, right? A lower high in this macro daily perspective. For now, it's pretty much bouncing from this low. I wanted to see it roll over, right? At least break these 63.30 more or less, could open the doors to again retest this 62, and eventually this 61.60 area that we have been targeting for quite some time, which is the 200-day moving averages, more or less. You can see that 61 and 60, 80, something like that, which in my opinion would be the lowest point for now for this weekly cycle. If we take a look at USDT, 4.5 is still putting up a fight. This very daily divergence, again, this was the, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, sorry, zooming. This bullish divergence playing out for now, weak bounce, which is good for continuation. Just so it's just a bounce from oversold levels. Small bearish divergence here, which is this one playing out, but it's still 4.5 holding. It's something I don't really want to see for much longer. What we saw, it was an important level here when it was reclaiming after the bottom, right? It was from early February to late February, like 20 days. Here it's been from 9th May. Yeah, the same, 20 days. It's something that it's not abnormal so far. If we take a quick look at the weekly, we can see again hesitation here. This is the only thing I'm worrying, as I said, but we're still way below the MA. Let's see. It's also important to know that, as I said in a different post, I'm gonna hide this to make it a little bit cleaner, that the USDT market cap has been increasing, right? So we compare with BTC. When BTC marked the top, the previous top, USDT was here 373 twice with this double top, right? Lower high, high low for USDT, clear sign together with all the other signals we're tracking. And you can see where in this white line where the USDT market cap was. It has been increasing ever since. That's why BTC is in price discovery now, while only getting to this first target, not again the 373. So it means there's new money coming in. That's why I said that these levels I'm like monitoring could change in the future, but so far, as long as they hold, I have to keep respecting them, right? So perhaps if we get here again, we are in a very, very high price, like, I don't know, the next Fibonacci 135, something like that. So even though USDT might get to this level again, prices could be and should be way higher. Again, because there are way more money in the market, right? So everything looks good for continuation. There's no surprises, nothing wrong. Everything happening as it should. But again, BTC dominance, USDT showing way more strength than I expected. But we have seen these kind of rollovers many times in crypto. So as long as key levels are holding, I'm confident for a new push. In fact, again, if we remember the levels that Ethereum BTC, where they are, how high BTC dominance still is, how others and totally have reclaimed the 200-day moving averages since November, which was the last time, and how the BTC monthly looks, all in conjunction, tells me that this cycle still has plenty of room. So when I switched to the back in January, I reposted it recently. My initial idea of top in Q1 was I changed that to Q4. It was early January, simply because the price action from BTC back here was just that of another weekly cycle. No euphoria, nothing like that. Nothing, just another weekly. This is the monthly, right? Another cycle. And now we have fully reset. Here's stock RSI. And I think there's plenty of room until we get to these levels. And that could be Q4 perfectly. So we might have another weekly cycle push now. Perhaps a retest of the MA in the monthly with that correction, holding the MA and saying, okay, we are back for another push. And off we go. We have to remain open-minded. I'm saying now for Q4, something like 4-year cycle, because until it's invalidated, it should be considered. Doesn't mean I am going to play exactly like that, expecting that. Again, trying to go that far down the road is pointless in my opinion. You can't act thinking, especially in crypto, with how fast everything moves. You can't just plan expecting the move in 6-7 months. That's stupid. You can miss a lot of money and you can leave a lot of money on the table if you plan so far ahead. That's why just buying and going AFK until 6 months later could be devastating if you're in altcoins, for example, right? So I think there's plenty of room. This doesn't look at all like the start of the biggest trend ever. So I will just keep waiting. And finally, I'm going to take a quick look at the SPX because I commented, look at the monthly, huge. This would be, by the way, telling to say if it's rejected and it's just a bear market bounce, which, by the way, if this happens, we will be in price discovery. So nothing like a dead cat bounce. I mentioned that we fully reset like bear market levels, like in 2022. We fully reset the stock RSI, so this looks really, really strong. This is not the kind of wicks you see in a bear market bounce. But if we take a quick look at the daily, I posted, I'm going to remove all this for a second. I posted a what if all we are seeing It's just a reclaim of the 200 and bouncing of it. I posted it when it was here. We are seeing now futures are around 6K now because of the jury decision that Trump has no power to impose tariffs, blah blah blah. I mean, we can have just another headline about Trump saying that they have no power, whatever, and make markets stumble again. But it's not a coincidence that it's reclaiming the 200-day moving average, and we see potential. I mean, positive headlines. This is huge. We need a higher high to confirm that this is not just a fake out above the 200-day moving averages. And if we print that, all-time high is very, very close. We are around 6K now in the future, so yeah, this is just, yeah, even if everything keeps being positive, imagine Trump now says that, okay, I will just, he comes like a little bit mild, like backing up a little bit, backing off, and we have like a strong end this week, perhaps retesting the all-time high, making a higher high, potential higher low, and price discovery next week. Together with BTC entering price discovery, everything is ready, and potentially attacking the next Fibonacci level, at least 120K. It wouldn't be shocking. We have been tracking this. It's all ready. So just we're waiting for that signal. Everything looks really, really good in my opinion. And the fact that BTC dominance hasn't been climbing, has been making a lower high compared to BTC, that has made a higher high. Just show you quickly what I mean. Let me just remove this. So just a quick comparison with BTC dominance, right? Lower high from BTC dominance, higher high and price discovery for BTC. This together with altcoins holding and reclaiming key structure levels tells me that big players are accumulating altcoins. Remember my gold BTC chart when I said that all the headlines were for gold, and let me just look for it quickly. I don't want to make this video much longer. Just give me a second because I think I have it here and I want to show you. Yeah, here it is. So this is when I posted the smart money position when people look at the Chinese object. The reversal, this is gold BTC chart. Gold pushing, but it was a various divergence here, continuation, and that was the top for gold and the outperformance for BTC now. In this chart, BTC is entering this potential toppy area, which might come back down here against gold. We'll see. So again, this is suggesting that we might be entering the final phase of this weekly cycle with a potential various divergence in the daily forming for quite some time, and perhaps end of July we just correct again. We'll see. We'll see. Everything looks good again. Everything looks healthy, and we just have to wait until new updates. Take care and see ya.